Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 4, which is the fourth of our continued installments of student admission program panels throughout the month of April. Programming to the class of 2024. Congratulations on being admitted. We'd love to see you at Boston College. Hey, we'd love to welcome you to campus at Boston College, but we can't do that right now for obvious reasons. What we've been able to do in the interim is put on these panels on different topics throughout the month of April. Maybe you've tuned into some of the other virtual panels that we've had earlier this month. We have several more, and we'll talk about those when our time is done today. But tonight, I was really excited about this. This was BC in my backyard because I thought that this would be a nice night to highlight local students who go to Boston College, and all of the students who are volunteering here are relatively local to Boston College. And many students who enroll at Boston College are very local to us, and we love that part. But beyond just talking about the short commute and the constant drop-ins of our parents, what I also want to talk about tonight is the city and the neighborhood and our location, because you can't avoid the town or city that your college resides in. In fact, there should be value added from it. So while we're going to talk about the journeys of 4 students locally, the very short journeys to get to Boston College, again, what we want to talk about today is the city of Boston and how that's going to impact your life at Boston College. So the four students that we have today, I'm going to have them introduce themselves. So here's what you'll do. An introduction will be who you are, where you're from, where you went to high school, and then what major and program and year you are. And then we'll go around to the 4 of you. So why don't we go in alphabetical order of your first name, all right? And then I have a few questions that I prepared for discussion points. And then there are things that maybe our viewers may want to have you guys answer questions about. So I think this is going to be a fun night. Let's see, who gets us started? Diana gets us started. So Diana, if you can introduce yourself really quick.
Hi everyone, my name is Diana Flynn. I'm from Norwell, Massachusetts, which is about 40 minutes south of BC. I went to Thayer Academy, which is in Braintree, Massachusetts, so not too far away. And I'm currently in the Carroll School of Management studying marketing and finance.
Hi everybody, my name is Laura Kate. I'm from Chelmsford, Massachusetts, so about 40 minutes north of Boston College. And I went to Chelmsford High School, which is our public high school. And I'm a junior in the Lynch School of Education and Human Development, double majoring in elementary education and applied psychology and human development.
Great.
Hi everyone, my name is Margot Laughlin. I'm from Norfolk, Massachusetts. I went to King Philip Regional High School, which is about 40 minutes south of BC. I'm currently in the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm studying mathematics with a minor in philosophy.
Hi guys, my name is Seamus Miller. I'm originally from the town of Wellesley, Massachusetts. I went to Wellesley High School, class of 2017, so I'm a junior here at BC studying sociology in the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences.
Good stuff. Well done. Well done. Now, if a couple of you could talk a little bit about your choice to come to Boston College, knowing full well that with Boston in our name, this might have been a place that you visited many times and learned about many times, maybe had family members that went to. But if a couple of you can talk about your journey, and if those things were real help, or if like maybe some kids are, you try to fight those things off because we're so close or because you knew it so well, but you ended up at our school anyway. So if a couple of you can talk about your journey to BC.
I guess I'll go first. My journey to BC is a little different than I think most people's. I'm actually a transfer student. I went to a previous college my freshman year. That was about an hour away from my house, and I decided to transfer to BC my sophomore fall. So I've been at BC now for a semester and a half, I guess you could say. And the main reason I chose Boston College was the size. I wanted a bigger school, but not somewhere where I felt lost, and the community is something that I felt I could be a part of. Even though it was roughly 9,000 students, you really feel important. And also the location to the city. I grew up going into Boston all the time with my friends and family, and being outside the city gave us that community feel, not like a city school type of feel, but then being able to take the train in within under 20 minutes gave me the freedom I wanted of the city as well.
Great. How about someone else?
So I'd actually never been to Boston College before I toured it my junior year of high school. Immediately fell in love with it. The campus is absolutely beautiful. I think a huge factor in choosing Boston College for me was for my career, because I'm going to be a teacher. I've always loved living in Massachusetts and going to the Massachusetts public schools. So for me, going to college in Mass is really great because I will graduate with a teaching license in Massachusetts, and also kind of getting the alumni network it's all over the country, but it is really large here in Boston. And being able to do my student teaching in Boston and the surrounding towns is going to be really awesome. So when I teach after college, I'm still close to home, but I will have a really strong network with schools that I've worked with through my college experience.
For Seamus and Margot, I'm sure that you knew of Boston College, going to high school and being so close, and maybe knowing other people that went here. But still, maybe there's been surprises. Maybe there's been a surprise in coming to Boston College, that all of those stories and all those people that told you about Boston College, or the things that you perceived about Boston College, those weren't true. Maybe there's been something different that has happened to you at BC, or that you've learned about Boston College that none of those stories prepared you for.
I can go. I think that I have really enjoyed that, even though we do have a very, very broad base of students who are from New England and Massachusetts, I've really enjoyed that there are a lot of people from all over, both across the United States, but also international students. A lot of the people that I've become friends with are from the West Coast, Midwest, really Southwest, Southeast, all over. And I've really enjoyed being able to, you just sit down and say, wait, what do you call a highway? You say freeway? That's wrong. But being able just to compare notes, and the way we were each raised and our lives have been different up until this point, but now we're all at BC together. So I've really enjoyed that component, I think.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Seamus is saying, I really enjoy the part of how like everyone's coming from all these different places, from all over the place, and they bring in a different dynamic to the table. For me personally, just how we're rooted in the Jesuit nature, that was a part of the BC thing that I like knew was there, but actually experiencing it firsthand really has made me come to love BC so much. Just the environment, how everyone's so passionate about what they're involved in, and how supportive they are of one another, which is something I think coming from high school and going into BC with the Jesuit college is something that's so truly special. And I think what Seamus is saying, like how people from all over the United States and different parts of the world coming together to kind of bring their different perspectives is something that's truly like special about BC.
All right, so I'm going to ask you all this question, and I do think that there must be two sides of the coin. Most of the people that are viewing tonight are local. They're from Massachusetts. That's how we advertised it, but not everybody. There are some people that are viewing this from the Midwest, or from the Atlantic seaboard, or even from the far west. So I want you to look at it both sides. Tell me an advantage of going to school relatively close to home. And then tell me something that, I don't know, isn't that great about being to school so close to home. If there is anything, something that you wish you had or wish was different. Not enough for you to change your mind, but maybe there's some pros, and maybe there are some things that you don't have that other people have, because you are closer to home.
I think logistically a pro is my roommate's from Texas, and so every year when she moves out, she has to store all of her stuff in a storage unit. Her parents can't be there for move-in. I have the luxury of bringing multiple carloads of stuff to campus every semester, which is really awesome. Probably not for the best, but it is very nice and convenient. And then my parents are really close by. I'm an only child, so when I left the house, they were really excited that they could just drive up, have brunch every now and then, which is really fun, and get some free meals for me and my friends as well. I think a disadvantage is that I do love Boston so much, but I have grown up near the city, and it would have been kind of cool to go to a school in a different city because I do kind of already know Boston. That being said, I do still love being near Boston. I've learned a lot more about the city since being at Boston College, but it is something to think about, is that you are still in like the same area in the same city as you grew up near.
Anybody else?
I think that I like, even though I'm from a suburb that's pretty close to Boston, and I would have thought that I knew it pretty well. Being at BC, you're just that much closer. You have access to the tea and all the things that Boston has to offer that I wouldn't really have taken advantage of much in high school. So I think even though I was pretty familiar in high school with Boston, just being a student at BC has opened up a lot more of the city to me, not just the Back Bay and the North End and the financial district, but people do service across Brighton and Alston. There are service placements all over the city that people take advantage of, and the city's pretty easy to get around and not super expansive. So there's a lot of opportunities to check out something new. I think the advantage to, or the disadvantage to being close is for me probably I don't know. I would have said that I would have said that I would have liked to see another part of the country, but or another city, but I think that even anything like that would never have changed my decision. Being close is maybe not the most ideal situation, but it's definitely not worth not being a student here.
I think the thing that sometimes students tell me is that they take it for granted. And maybe some students don't go into Boston that much for whatever reason. So I want to get maybe an idea of all four of you. What are the types of things that you go into the city for? You foresee yourself going into the city for in the future? What do you and your friends use in the city? So give me some ideas from all of you about how much you use the city.
Yeah, I'd say I try to go into the city a lot with my friends, usually like every other week or so. A thing that I've done in the past I love is in the fall, they offer Red Sox tickets at BC. I think it's like $9 I paid for it. And I got like free admission. All my friends went. We got like cool BC Red Sox hats. So that was a great time. I also, for one of my classes, globalization, which is a history class, part of the class requirement is that we go and observe a piece of art that a professor like recommends we look at. And then we write up about it and then we talk about it in class. So I think kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, seeing things in a different light, I thought that was really interesting and it helped me learn more and engage in these discussions with my classmates that I wouldn't have. I also partook in a activity called Endeavor over my sophomore year break, and that's for students in the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences, where they get to explore different career tracks for a couple days coming back before the spring semester. And one of those days we did a career check into Liberty Mutual. So kind of getting to explore the city of Boston in different lights, whether it be for academics or with friends, or even for like different future employment opportunities. So definitely I think BC brought a lot of really great experiences into my college experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise, just going into Boston by myself.
Sure. How about you, Diana?
One thing that I did this past year was I participated in the Pulse program here, which is a philosophy and theology class that's a year long. It's 6 credits each semester, so it fulfills both your philosophy and theology credits that you need to take at BC. But one component of it is the service aspect. You have to do 12 hours of community service. So twice a week, me and about 10 other BC students would travel into the city, and I worked at a youth program, and we volunteered helping students read and do their homework and participate in activities. So just taking the train and going to the city, sometimes after, if we all had time, we'd stop and grab something to eat and bond, or we'd just explore the city a little bit on our way there if we got off the train early. So it was definitely a great way that we utilize the city to kind of carry on BC's message of men and women for others, and we definitely got to explore there. One other way I use the city is for jobs, especially being a business student at BC in the city. A lot of great connections. My professor actually introduced me to someone in the city, and I took the train and I had a few interviews, and it's so easy to go back and forth. I didn't even have to come home. I can just take the train and go right back to school.
Great. Seamus, give me an example of, or a couple of examples of how you use the city.
There's always, I think Parents Weekend is a lot of fun, and it's a great, especially freshman year, you might not, I mean, it's pretty early, September, being able to, just like the cultural stuff that's going on in the city. We have a lot of great restaurants to take advantage of. There's always concerts going on, and being able to fork out a nice dinner from your parents, maybe over Parents Weekend. That's always a big plus. So there's definitely a lot to explore there. And then, like I said, trying to get because you live here now, trying to break out from those like touristy spots and see something new. Try going to Southie for the St. Patrick's Day parade, or just check out a new area, the Seaport or East Boston. There's always something new, and in every corner of the city there's something going on.
And you, Laura Kate?
Yeah, similar to everybody else, I have had a couple service placements across Boston. And a really awesome thing for me is I've been able to work in Boston public schools multiple times. So as an education major, you're guaranteed to have an urban placement, which was something very different than the suburban placement or suburban school district that I grew up in. So it's been really cool to work in the Boston public school system. I volunteered there, and I also have done like a student teaching practicum as well. And then also there's tons of cultural stuff around Boston. I've taken the train from Boston to Gillette Stadium to go to a football Patriots game, which was really fun. I've been to a Red Sox game. I've been to a Post Malone concert, TD Garden, which was awesome. I go shopping a lot in Boston. I go out to eat way more than I should. They have so many good restaurants in Boston. And even just like BC so close, we're on the border of Newton and Brighton. So Brighton is part of Boston as well. And just even like really, really close to BC, there's tons of places that are just technically still in Boston, as Seamus said, that are not the classic touristy places, but really good neighborhood eateries and neighborhood stores and everything. That's really fun to explore.
And how would you recommend people going to the city?
We have a T station on campus. So the T is our subway system in Boston. So you can really just walk right out of your dorm and onto the T and take it into the city. It is a little leisurely, sometimes takes like 30 to 40 minutes to get in, but it's only
Leisurely. That's a great adverb. Leisurely.
Yeah, it's relaxing. It does take like 40 minutes, but it's only like $2.50 to get in, which is really nice. You can also Uber, and if you're splitting with a bunch of friends, Ubering is pretty cheap as well. You can walk too if you have the time.
Mm-hmm. I took the subway every day to high school over at Boston College High School.
Mm-hmm.
Leisurely is what I'd call that ride sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. That was well said. One thing you didn't mention are one of the things that Boston is well known for are the colleges and universities. I guess the easy question would be, do you have much interaction with other students at other places? But maybe the broader question is, do you feel the impact of the universities and colleges in the city of Boston when you go in? Is this a friendly city to college students? Is it an economical city at times for college students? So again, answer either side of that question if a couple of you can do that.
I think one thing I've noticed is that on game days, our campus is full of students from other colleges, especially a lot
Oh,
of
is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they come. I've known so many kids from my high school, friends of friends that have come and just texted me like, "Are you here? Like, where are you? Do you want to meet up?" And it's just a super fun environment where it's double the amount of college kids that would normally be on campus.
Yeah, I think the environment in the city is very young. They say that over Labor Day weekend, like the average age in the city drops 10 years because 250,000 college students are coming into the area, and you can definitely feel that when you're out and about. There's a sense that even if you don't know someone else at a different school, or you don't interact one-on-one with them, there's a very youthful energy to the city for sure.
But no one's called out MIT, Harvard, Northeastern, Boston University, which is good. We're not in the business of calling any students out. Those are all wonderful institutions. But I mean, do you see any of those students more or less? Do you ever go over to those campuses for anything?
Yeah, I think a pro of being from Massachusetts is that I do know a lot of people from my high school that go to school at other Boston colleges. Like I know somebody at Northeastern, at Tufts, MCPHS, Emmanuel. So like one of my best friends goes to Emmanuel and she did dance recital, so I was able to go take the T, see her dance. I have a friend in an a cappella group at Northeastern, so I was able to see him do that as well. So it is really cool to kind of stay connected with people from high school, because if you are from Massachusetts, then chances are a lot of people from your high school will end up in the Boston area for college as well.
Got it. As a service to some people that aren't from the Boston area that are viewing here, can somebody talk a little bit about the weather and what they should be prepared for?
Yeah, I think I always say this on my tours, but Um, I had a roommate sophomore year from Florida. There's tons of kids who come from California. And that first winter, I think, is definitely a learning experience for people from the Sun Belt. But they're all still here 3 years later, and they love it. I think it's kind of like a rite of passage to get do your first Boston winter. This year's been pretty mild, is what I've heard,
Yeah,
but
real much.
yeah. So these freshmen maybe got off easy, but you will get through it. You will come to embrace the cold, maybe. And I mean, I think winter on campus, it's one of the nicest times. That might be pandering, but
Now, that's good, Seamus. Along the same subject, Laura Kate, you brought up the fact that you had a roommate or a best friend from Texas.
Yes.
Do you guys, as local students, feel the obligation to take these people from further away in that are your close friends or roommates, just to make sure that maybe Columbus Day weekend, or some of the times that are short and not long enough for people to go home, just to make sure they have a place to feel at home? Do you feel that obligation by being so local?
I wouldn't say I feel an obligation, but I have done it because I want to do it. My roommate from Texas came home for Easter break with me freshman year, because that is a really short break, because you only offer 3 weekdays, I think. So she came home with my family, and we brought her up to Maine because she'd never been up to Maine before, being from Texas, and it was really fun. But I don't think anybody expects you to bring them in per se. But if you were from out of state, you'd definitely be able to find somebody to stay with for sure, because people are pretty hospitable at BC.
As long as you had friends,
Yeah,
you got to make the friends first, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think so. All right, good. Thank you, Laura Kate. We talked about Boston, but we didn't talk about the local neighborhood around BC, like Chestnut Hill. Sort of, what do you think the vibe is like, and what kind of stores or what kind of services are close by, so people don't have to take an Uber downtown if they just want to get a Starbucks, or where's the closest Dunkin' Donuts? Like, what are the real important things that in the close proximity of Boston College's campus you can tell people about?
Yeah, to kind of start, I lived on Newton campus my freshman year. So BC has like the main campus with housing on upper campus. So that's more closer to campus. And then we also have freshman housing on Newton campus, which is where the law school is located, about a mile away from BC. And living on Newton campus, my friends and I freshman year, we'd always walk up to Newton Center. It's a nice mile walk. There's all kinds of different nice restaurants. I know one of my friends is obsessed. They had some pasta restaurant. We'd go there all the time. Just a really nice neighborhood, a lot of great restaurants. So definitely taking advantage of the different local restaurants. Obviously going to the city's a lot of fun too, but there's a lot to explore around Newton Center. The Chestnut Hill Mall has a lot of stores. I know my friends and I would go to the Cheesecake Factory a lot, which is always a lot of fun. So there's definitely a lot to explore around not only in Boston, but in Newton as well.
And Margot, do any of those places use BC's meal plan?
I know there's a sandwich shop across the street from BC that uses the BC meal plan. And then I know there's obviously Starbucks and stuff on campus. I think those are the only places really that I know of. I could be wrong.
Any of the pizza delivery places?
Oh wait,
I know you haven't
sure.
you haven't ordered pizza on campus in a while.
Yeah.
But I think there are a couple, right?
Okay.
Yeah, all right, I thought so. What else is in the close proximity, and how much do you explore it? I mean, do you use the things that are close by?
On the other side of campus from Newton Center, kind of the closest central area of Boston is Cleveland Circle, which I guess kind of lies right where Newton, Brookline, and Boston all come together. But there's a whole strip of businesses on Beacon Street right there that everything from a hardware store. There's a CVS down there. Eagles Deli, if you're ever in the area, highly recommend. Mm-hmm. But I try to go down there. I mean, not at the moment, but every so often, just to switch it up a little bit, make a little adventure of it, if you will. So definitely some stuff in the area.
Now, for all of us that are relatively local to Boston, we know the reputation of Newton and Chestnut Hill is one that's pretty safe. It's a residential area for the most part, and with a couple of colleges and temples and museums. It's not really downtown. It doesn't have that urban feel. So doesn't necessarily have that much traffic, and that sometimes keeps a lot of the trouble away. I'd like to hear some of your impressions about our neighborhood. Again, maybe not necessarily relative to Chelmsford and to Wellesley, but certainly as you feel around campus or right off of campus, do you feel safe? Do you feel like measures are in place so you guys can safely get around, whether it's late, whether you are leaving campus to go into Boston? Do you feel safe on campus?
Yes, I always feel safe on Boston College's campus. As you said, it is a very nice neighborhood. It's pretty affluent around. There's not many people that come on campus that don't go to BC, so it is very much like the community of BC is pretty enclosed, which is really nice and feel safe as well. I never feel in danger walking by myself at night, coming back from the library or anything. And there is Boston College Police that's around all the time, and we do have the blue light system. So if you need anybody, you can hit the blue light and they will be there in seconds to help you.
How about anybody else in terms of getting around campus, going into the city? Have you seen it a safe campus, a secure campus, even getting into your residence hall itself?
I came back from the city a lot last year late, sort of, from my service partner. I'd get in around like 7:30 and it was pretty dark, and I had to walk up Com Ave from the train stop, and I always felt safe walking up, even though I was on the main road, not really within the campus. I never felt scared or alone. There's always kids walking up and down the street with me. The BC police was going by, and overall I think it's a really safe area.
Great, great. The only real big events that happen on campus where, like you guys said, like Diana, you said, all these people come to our campus would be athletic events. When we have a home football game, there may be 50,000 people on campus. When we have a home hockey game, that could be 8, 9, 10,000 people on campus. I mean, these are big events. I'm sure you all have season tickets or passes, or, I mean, how much of these big events speak to the fabric of the community for you guys? Are these things that you look forward to? Are they, I mean, I know that a lot of people come off campus, but for the people that live on campus, are these just as big events? Are they just as big dates on the calendar for you guys to make the most of on campus?
Yeah, definitely. I like completely have to say like it's one of my favorite parts of BC is like the athletics. And honestly, this is kind of like surprising because in high school, I ran cross country and track, but and was never one to like enjoy watching sports. Like I was like, oh, like I'd rather do something else. And then my freshman year, one of my best friends was like, come on, you have to go to the football game. You have to see like what it's all about. Like the first one, I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. And it was like a life-changing experience. Like I've never seen anything like that. Just the whole BC community coming together like on game day. Like I by far like love just screaming the chants. Like that's my favorite part, just seeing the whole community come together and all the excitement, bring it to the table. And honestly, someone who didn't really love sports in the past to like convert me to like loving sports, I think that's pretty impressive. Just the sense of the community that comes from like all the athletic events and different events BC has on campus. Like we also have performance in the spring called ALC Showdown. So that's a dance competition, and just seeing how the whole community comes together to support their friends, to cheer them on, to see the showdown, so to speak, just really embodies the BC spirit of men and women for others, and that we really support one another in all of our like passions and practices that we do.
Let me ask you this question. As local students, you're the most likely to have other students from your high school class attend with you. Some of our friends that are watching us from the Midwest or the Far West, they might be the only one in their school that would even think about applying to Boston College. Or maybe a couple did, but only one got in to Boston College. At Wellesley High School, Chelmsford High School, I mean, these are places that we do a lot of business with. Now, if many of those students came to Boston College from your class, was that a good thing for you? Were they your best friends? Are they people you see all the time? Or were they the most random group of people possible and maybe you never see them on campus? But since many of the people here that are watching us are from local schools, they may have that phenomenon with them too, and they want to know what it's like. If that was your best friend in high school and you chose the same school, will you split apart or will it be easy for you to stay back together? I know that might not be the case with you guys, but certainly if you went to a local school, there may be more than just you that's here from that school. And I'd like to know if you've had that phenomenon.
Yeah, I think my class was seven. Seven people came from my high school class to BC, and it was quite the cast of characters. We weren't really super close friends, but an interesting thing that happened to me and that other people describe happening to them is that one of the people who came to BC with me, or in the same class as me, we've grown much closer having come to BC together than we ever were in high school. We were friendly in high school, but I would never have said that she was like one of my close friends. We were acquainted. But coming to BC together, we've grown a lot closer and become genuine friends, which I really enjoyed. We go home and have someone to hang out with still. So I wouldn't say that I became, or that I was best friends with anybody and it's like the seven of us hanging out all the time by any means, but I think you'll find that there might be some surprises in there with the people that may or may not come from your high school.
Anybody else?
I think also for me, I think there's about 6 or 7 of us as well in my grade alone. And I've stayed close with a few of them, but even the ones that I'm close with, I don't see throughout the day most of the time unless I make an effort. There are 9,000 students, so if you want to stay close, you make that effort, and if not, then you can kind of drift apart, and it's like they're not really there. So I think you kind of get the best of both sides of the situation, but I've definitely, like Seamus said, have become closer with some of them that I was not originally close with in high school, just because you kind of cling to that sense of familiarity when you first drop into college, because you don't know anyone and there's 1,200 students and you're just confused. But when you have that person to turn to and just be like, hey, you want to grab lunch, you kind of start to form these bonds that you really didn't think you even had before.
Mm-hmm. As time is starting to run short, I only have time for a couple more questions. I do want to acknowledge the fact that I didn't expect to see Margot or Seamus this semester because they were abroad. And Laura Kate?
I was too.
Right. This was serendipitous to have all of you back in Massachusetts to do this program about Massachusetts when none of you were going to be in Massachusetts. Can you just go real quickly around to where you were and how you are now at home, when you got home, and that you're okay and safe? Margot?
Yeah, I can start. Okay.
Go for it.
I was studying abroad in Madrid this past semester. Absolutely loved it. One of the best experiences of my time at BC, and honestly my whole life. Even though it was only 2 months, I still got so much out of it. I'm still FaceTiming in contact with my friends from Spain. We still talk all the time. One of the big motivating factors for me was I wanted to improve Spanish. That was why I was there. I wanted to immerse myself in a different culture and improve my Spanish. And I know coming out of it, even though I was only there for 2 months, I got so much out of it. Made so many friendships. They're still carrying it over, even remotely, so to speak. And just my Spanish has improved drastically as well. Still very sad about the whole thing, how it happened, but honestly such a great 2 months. And after this talk, I'm having virtual tapas with some of my BC friends in our program, so pretty excited for that too.
I was in Berlin, Germany this semester, and it's not a hot spot for study abroad, but it definitely should be because it's such a cool city. I'm sitting here with my map of Berlin in front of me and just admiring it. But it was a lot of fun, really great experience. I was the only BC student in my program, was definitely kind of fish out of water feeling for me, but I think at the end of the day, and it was a really good experience, and I'm glad I got the time I did.
And I was in Melbourne, Australia, which was awesome. So I was only there for a month because the seasons are swapped in Australia. So their summer break goes until March. So I didn't actually start classes until March. But I had an awesome time when I was there. I went snorkeling with dolphins and stingrays in the middle of the ocean, which was pretty cool. I went to Tasmania and saw wild kangaroos and wombats and Tasmanian devils and everything. And it was super awesome. It was a little ironic because being from Massachusetts, I always thought it would be super close to home in case I needed to come home. But the one time I had to come home, I was literally 10,000 miles away. But BC was really good about helping us, find flights to come home and making sure that everything transfers over. So I'm still taking classes online through my university in Australia, and it's been fine. I'm happy to be home, but a little sad it got cut short, but it was such an awesome experience. It really was awesome.
And, the irony, I suppose, is that the people who don't like to leave in the spring are the ones that are going to miss all of the great traditions that happen on campus and in the city of Boston, all of which didn't take place. You didn't miss Marathon Monday. There was no marathon, or there won't be one. Showdown and all these things, unfortunately, won't happen. I guess that would just make it better next year when these things happen a second time, I suppose. Well, that's all the questions that I had to speak of, because I think we covered a lot of ground of people that were interested in what Boston has to offer, what being on campus would have to offer. Can we just go through real quick about where you'll live next year when you come back to school?
I'll start. I'm living off campus next year. I'm living on Kirkwood, which is like a 5-10 minute walk from campus. I'm living in a house with 6 girls.
Great. Margot?
I'm living in Iggy, also known as Ignatius Hall, and it's a 6-person apartment suite for seniors.
I'm living in, oh, go for it after.
Okay. Similar to Margot, I'm also in a 6-person apartment on campus called Ruby or Rubenstein. It's really close to all classes and everything, and it's all seniors as well.
And I'm also in a 6-person apartment in the mods.
Ah, Seamus. Okay. That's good. And can you just explain it real quick?
Yeah, they are these townhouse style housing, and they're considered very desirable because there's a lot of tradition and BC culture attached to them. And they're all in like this one sort of quad area, creating like a little senior neighborhood, if you will.
I expected more of a Boston accent out of all you guys. Do you just tone it down when you're online and you're trying to present differently? I mean, my accent, I can't help it. It comes out every once in a while, but I didn't really sense it with any of you guys. People are coming to Boston to hear you guys talk. You understand that, right? Well, listen, this was really great and really fun, and it was so great to see you guys. It's not the same as being on campus. I think if you were with us on campus, you'd really see the hospitality in the community alive and well. But this is just as good. And again, really just a homegrown Massachusetts hospitality. Yeah, we could be a little intense, but it's only because we're right all the time, right? That's what I think. So thanks, guys. And please, if any of our viewers want to get more information, get in touch. We have more panels this week. Tomorrow is a panel with just seniors. Seniors Speak, 8:30 Eastern time. We'll have a panel of 4 seniors talking about life at Boston College, reflecting upon life at Boston College. And then Wednesday is a program we call Classes, Teachers, and Homework, talking about the academic life and culture at Boston College. Hopefully you tune in for them all. There'll be different panelists every night because our program is so great. The student admissions program has opened its home to you guys. And thanks for all the work that you do during a school year, and especially under these circumstances, being able to be online with us. So again, thank you so much. And all the viewers, thanks so much as well. Maybe I'll see you at a future program. I hope I do. Have a good night. Good night, guys.
Good night.